Happy Thursday to you. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb from the 11 Alive Weather Impact Team, where we have some big time changes coming. And that's why we have issued an 11 Alive Weather Impact Alert for Sunday late into Monday. Now, I want to be clear with you. We're not issuing this alert because we are expecting life-threatening weather or severe weather moving through, tornadoes. No, this is not anything like that. This is just a big change in our weather pattern that is going to be impactful for you if you weren't prepared for it. And it's going to be because of, number one, we're going to have rain that we haven't had in a long time. And then number two, it is going to be cold when this rain moves in. We have a wedge setting up, and that's a northeast flow that gets dammed up by the Appalachian Mountains. Meteorologically, we call this a cold air damming event. And that's what's going to be happening here, where that colder air gets kind of dammed up on the Appalachian Mountains, and this cold, dense air, and it just drains down into North Georgia and into the metro Atlanta area. And that's what we're going to be feeling on Monday, with high temperatures on Monday, most likely not even making it out of the 50s. So that's the big weather change and the big weather pattern shift that we're going to be dealing with as we go into the weekend. And this is going to begin on Sunday, as we're going to have clouds increasing on Sunday, and then eventually the rain is going to start pushing in from the west, moving into our area, potentially starting off with some light rain, mist and drizzle. Then we'll have a better coverage of that rain late Sunday night, overnight into Monday early in the day, and then that'll taper off to more mist and drizzle with that colder air in place with us on your Monday afternoon. So again, nothing severe, nothing life-threatening, but a big change in our weather pattern is coming. Now, we need rain to move in here. The drought update, the drought monitor was updated today. We get this every Thursday, and you'll notice notice here a little more red is showing up on the map in parts of Alabama, also in South Georgia expanding, and here in the metro area, we're seeing some red showing up, and that red means extreme drought. So we're seeing that red color, the extreme drought, in parts of South Fulton County, moving down into Coweta County. We have it in Fayette, also over into parts of Clayton County, moving down into areas of Spalding County, northern parts of Meriwether County, and here in parts of Pike County, where we have that extreme drought. Now, if you look a little bit closer, you'll see here in the rest of metro Atlanta, that orange color there indicating where we have severe drought, and then surrounding that is moderate drought, and all of that is expanding. So as you know, this is really no big surprise, because we have been so dry here lately, and we're running more than 6 inches below where we should be in rainfall for the year. So we need this rain that's coming in on Sunday and Monday to really help us out a little bit. Our weather models are projecting around an inch, excuse me for the cough, around an inch possible here from Sunday into Monday, and then some additional rain with another wave coming in from Tuesday into Wednesday that could give us a little bit more. We don't think this is going to wipe out our drought, but it might help us kind of at least slow it down a little bit, or maybe put a dent in that drought. So we'll wait and see how much that does impact us with this rain that is going to be on the way. Right now, not much showing up on radar, really nothing showing up on radar at all. When you're looking for any rain, we don't see anything. We really don't have any clouds here on our satellite imagery either. A few more clouds in South Florida, moving down into the Florida Panhandle. And then if you'll look more around the southeast, we have a few more clouds building out to the west too. And, by tomorrow afternoon, we might see 1 or 2 more clouds that are going to be mixing in with that sunshine at times, but still, the rain-producing clouds won't be here until we get into Sunday, and most of that looks like it's going to be generally later in the day. Here's a beautiful view here from our tower cam there on Arizona Avenue, where we have that great view of the city of Atlanta there, the skyline. We're looking over toward the west, where we had a nice sunset tonight that, again, was just before 7 o'clock, around 6:56 tonight, when we saw that sun setting out there. So a beautiful view from this vantage point. Also in northwest Georgia, in Rome, things are looking good with clear skies there. Not seeing the wind blowing the flags there at all, just a few bugs flying around here in some of the city lights there in the Rome area. And then this is our view right now at Truist Park. where, of course, we're finished with baseball for this season, unfortunately, but still looks pretty out there when you're looking over the park with some of the lights on there, too. And it's a beautiful night as our temperatures are falling now that the sun has been down a little bit since before 7 o'clock. Our high temperature today, we weren't far off from 80 degrees. We made it up to 78 degrees. So this sunshine really helped those temperatures warm up after waking up this morning to 47 degrees. That was a rather cool start to the day. That was the coolest temperature that we've had so far this season. And that's also below average. We should be around 52 this time of year, 5 degrees below average. Not bad, right? But the high today was 6 degrees above average. We should be around 72 for this time of year. Now, I mentioned that rainfall deficit. It continues to grow. We're now about 6.5 inches below where we should be in rainfall for the year. So the rain coming in here Sunday into Monday is going to help, but it's not going to wipe out the deficit. It might bring it down just a little bit. Take a look at these temperatures where I showed you those lows and highs. This is how it all timed out. This was early this morning. At 8 o'clock is when we had that temperature of 47 degrees for the low. And then we got up to, we mentioned 78 here. That was really between 4 o'clock, 4:30, when we bumped up to 78 briefly before going back to 76 at 5 o'clock. And now, of course, the sun went down, I mentioned, and look how these temperatures are cooling back to 65 right now at this hour. And Atlanta is one of the milder spots around here at the 9 o'clock hour. 65 degrees here. Marietta not too far behind at 62, Canton 63, Rome is 61, Gainesville 60. Pretty much everybody else, though, has already moved into the 50s. And with that clear sky, it allows for radiational cooling. Any heat that built up today is able to radiate upward into the atmosphere, replaced by some colder air there at the surface. But here in the Atlanta area and in more of the more urban areas, it holds on to the heat a little bit longer due to the buildings and a lot of the concrete that we have around. We do think we'll get down into the 40s again tomorrow, most likely not 47 for the city. We'll be at about 49 here. But remember, those of you in the outlying areas will have plenty of temperatures that are going to be in the 40s, mid 40s, and even some upper 30s in parts of North Georgia. Chesley was telling me earlier today that up around the Blairsville area, they actually made it to freezing this morning. So that was a cold one. And we even have freeze warnings in effect just north of the Georgia line into North Carolina, as they may see some freezing temperatures up in those areas. So cold air in place. It's abnormally cool for us for this time of year, especially in these morning hours. So here's the forecast track. We're not seeing any big time changes moving in for the next day or so. Tomorrow, we might see a couple of more clouds mixing in the afternoon. This is the clear sky early in the morning. Lunchtime is still sunny. But here you see a couple of clouds trying to blow in from the west in the afternoon, maybe making it through here, but still a good bit of sunshine, 1 or 2 clouds here and there. On Saturday, I'm thinking we will see a few more clouds mixing in with the sunshine, especially later in the day. This is in the morning, mainly clear. See this northeasterly flow, those arrows that are coming in from the north and east? That's going to be a very important weather component, especially as we get into Sunday. So keep an eye on that for you as I'm showing you this little bit of cloud cover that's going to start building in on Saturday. This is in the afternoon. It thickens up a little bit back into Alabama, just generally thin clouds pushing into the metro area. That does thicken up, though, overnight, Saturday into Sunday, and Sunday morning we will see a few more of those clouds around, and those clouds will thicken up a little bit more too. This takes us to 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, where we are still dry, but we have the clouds that are building in. We still have that northeasterly flow. This is a shallow layer of cool air at the surface, and temperatures on Sunday aren't going to make it into the 70s. We're going to hold just in the 60s here on Sunday. Then we watch this moisture. That's going to start pushing our way as we go through the later, late afternoon, mainly into the evening hours on Sunday, overnight into early on Monday. Now, I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see this a little bit better here with the progression of that moisture coming in from the west. Friday, still dry. There's that moisture trying to come in on Saturday. Then on Sunday, that starts feeding in late afternoon. Now that's the main area of rain out to the west. What we have to watch with that northeast flow is if we could get a little bit of mist and drizzle developing ahead of this main system as that moisture kind of rides up and over that shallow layer of cool air at the surface. But this takes us into Sunday night into early on Monday morning. You see that coverage of rain that we're going to have around? That's going to be pretty good rain that's going to be coming in here. This is early on Monday morning. This main wave exits during the day. Now, I don't think we're going to dry out necessarily behind that late in the afternoon on Monday. I think we'll still have some mist and drizzle around. But then going into Tuesday, another bit of wraparound moisture comes in to keep us with a rain chance, and some of that lingering into Wednesday as well. So we may add on to at least some lower rain amounts going in to Tuesday and Wednesday. And then Thursday, models indicating we should be clearing out a little bit, but temperatures look like they're going to remain in the 60s here for not only Monday. Monday we think will be 59, but Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, most likely temperatures are going to be holding into the 60s. So that's a look in a nutshell of what we have going on for the next 7 days. Rain stays out of here for Friday and Saturday. Then we're at a 30% chance for showers Sunday, 70% Monday, and then a 30% chance for rain here on your Tuesday as that wraparound moisture moves in. Here's a look at the models. This is for the next 5 days. They're still not in agreement. They've been going up and down. GFS has really been, or the American model has really been trying to trend on the lower end for rainfall. Right now they're saying maybe a half inch. And again, this is for the next 5 days, all right? Maybe an inch over at Athens or Covington and Eatonton. That'd be good. Half inch maybe up in Gainesville. Compare that to the European, and the European model has been the one that's been a little more aggressive, and also it's been a little more consistent with not only rain coming in, but also the amounts of rain coming in too. Right now, it's showing about an inch or a little bit more than an inch here, but showing a little bit more than what the American model is showing. So we think these models are going to be getting a little bit closer and closer in comparison here as we get closer to the day. A lot of times the models have a hard time with these wedge events and the overrunning moisture and predicting how much moisture or how much rain we're actually going to get. Here's the latest on Tropical Storm Melissa. This is the 8 o'clock advisory. Now, if you're looking at this and you're comparing to what we were talking about yesterday, you see this storm here is pretty much in the same spot. It's moving very slowly, only to the north at about 2 miles an hour, just meandering there in the Caribbean. But you may look at the wind speed and say, wait a minute, wasn't it 50 mile an hour winds yesterday? And you're right. And today it's 45 mile an hour winds. And many folks are thinking, well, isn't that a sign that it's weakening? Well, it is briefly weakening as the storm is kind of restructuring itself. We're going to see the center of circulation kind of redeveloping here. And once that happens, we expect it to start getting stronger, but still not moving very much at all. It's going to be sitting on top of these warm waters there in the Caribbean, and that's going to allow it to continue growing and getting stronger and stronger. So we have these tropical storm warnings and hurricane watches in effect for parts of Haiti here, and also the entire island of Jamaica. So you can see it just sitting there, hanging out for a while. Then most likely Saturday becoming a Category 1 hurricane, Sunday most likely up to a Category 3, and then a Category 4 as we go into Monday as well as on Tuesday, just south of Jamaica. This is not good news for Jamaica, because that storm is just going to be sitting there, a very strong storm. And we always talk about the right front quadrant there as with the forward motion. That right front quadrant is the one that's going to have the strongest winds with it and the most destruction with it. Well, as this storm is moving this way, that right front quadrant is going to be on the Jamaica side. So we really think Jamaica is going to get battered. It may then curve up and cross over Jamaica and move over parts of eastern Cuba, and then move closer to the southern Bahamas here. But this is going to be a long time before all that happens just because of that slow movement. Here's a look at the winds that we're talking about. As it gets closer to Jamaica right here, there's the center of the storm. But those winds just going to be battering Jamaica here for days and days going into next week, and then crossing over the island and then moving up toward Cuba. So we have to keep an eye on this storm. The models are still showing that it looks like it is going to stay away from the United States. Here's a look at those watches and warnings again. There's the model showing it hanging out there south of Jamaica, but then all of them show a northwesterly turn, but they all show it at a different time. But it does look like it will happen before it could get caught up into the Gulf of Mexico or anything. So still not concerned about that impacting the United States, but we have to watch all those islands there for our friends down in the Caribbean. There's a look at the dry weather. Enjoy the next couple of days as temperatures are in the 70s. A few more clouds Saturday. There's that rain chance coming in. Once we get into later Sunday, Monday looking pretty soggy and raw. cold with highs near 59. That's why we have that 11 Alive weather impact alert in effect. And then lower 60s Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday as we hold on to generally some lower rain chances going into next week. But the cooler air sticks with us. Thanks for watching this extended weather update here on 11 Alive Plus and Weather Impact 24/7. We'll have another update for you tonight at 11 on 11 Alive News right here on 11 Alive Plus. And we'll have more updates for you throughout the day tomorrow. Thanks for watching.